2, 2. Everybody's good with that, right?
Yeah.
So what's our given data? 12.56 moles of sodium chlorate, so ClO3. And that would be important to make sure you wrote sodium chlorate and not sodium chloride, okay? Because remember, when I grade the charts, not just the answer. So if you wrote this compound and not that compound, I'd take off points. All right, what are we going to? Oxygen. All right, so moles of NaClO3 goes on the bottom, so it will cancel out. In your head, you're asking yourself, are you changing compounds? Are we? So what do we put on top? What did we learn this is called yesterday? And its purpose is to do what? Change the compound. That's going to be important today, because today we're going to learn 2 new kinds of problems, and we're going to add sections to the chart that are not going to be mole ratios. So the purpose of a mole ratio is to change the compound. So we have sodium chlorate on the bottom, so we're going to put a different compound on the top. So what compound are we going to put on top? O2, which is what they asked for, right? So we can have a different compound on the bottom and the top because we have what here? A mole ratio. All right. Where did we learn the numbers came from in mole ratio yesterday? The coefficients, which is the balanced equation. So what's in front of oxygen? 3. And in front of sodium chlorate? 2. And what answer did y'all get? 18.84. Okay. And you picked 4 significant digits because there were 4 there, right? And moles of oxygen is your unit. Questions about number 1? No? All right, for number 2, I asked you to write 3 mole ratios. I did not specify products or reactants, so you can use anything here. All right, writing the equation, I used ammonia just to try to help you remember what ammonia is. What is ammonia? NH3. What does it come from? Nitrogen and hydrogen. What do we know about them? They're diatomic. All right, balancing it, we need a what in front of N and in front of hydrogen. 3. All right, you could have written at least 6 of these pretty easily. So 1 mole of nitrogen over 3 moles of hydrogen. You can flip that. 3 moles of hydrogen over 2 moles of ammonia. You can flip it. 2 moles of ammonia over 1 mole of nitrogen. You can flip it. Okay? Any of those are acceptable. And you can flip those over and they're fine also. And you can keep going with that. Okay? Questions? Any issues with the opening today? No. All right, let's talk homework and see what. Yes. Okay, I was gonna say there are others, I'm sure. I just put 3 samples up there. All right, let's talk homework. See if we have questions on anything in homework. Not checking it. All right, question number 1. These answers, because we have no grams in them, should be identical to what I call out. Tomorrow's homework answers or answers I'll call out later in the day are not going to be identical because we're bringing grams in. Okay, but since there's no grams in these answers, they should be identical. All right, number 1 should be 0.128 moles. Question 2 should be 3.8 moles. Question 3, 3.75 moles. Question 4, 2.25 moles. And question 5, 7.2 moles. Number 1 is 0.128. 4 is 2.25. Any issues? Number 1. All right. Are we okay with 3, 1, 1, 3 for the coefficients?
Yeah. Wait, can you repeat that?
3, 1, 1, 3.
Okay, I got that.
All right, so when you read the question, you see how it says how many moles of iron 3 hydroxide, and then it finishes, reacts with iron 3 chloride. All right, find the question word. All right, it says how many moles of iron 3 hydroxide. You're looking for iron 3 hydroxide. It doesn't matter that the question talks about iron 3 chloride. That part's irrelevant. Okay, you're looking for iron 3 hydroxide. All right, so now find the number. The number says 0.385 moles of what? Rosanna, this was your question. 0.385 moles of what?
Potassium hydroxide.
All right, so potassium we know is what symbol?
Okay.
And then KOH. All right, so we know moles of KOH is going on the bottom. All right, are we changing compounds? If they want how many moles of iron 3 hydroxide? Are we changing compounds if they want iron 3 hydroxide? Yes, so we're going to go to moles. Now, which of those compounds is iron 3 hydroxide? All right, iron is Fe, and hydroxide is OH. So if you look at the balanced equation, iron hydroxide is the one that's FeOH with a 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so to get your coefficients for your moles, what number is in front of FeOH3? 1. And what is in front of KOH? So to calculate, we're just going to divide. Anybody else see anything out of 1 through 5? Yes, ma'am. 4. All right, 4 is using the same number and the same equation as question 3. So do you have coefficients of 1, 5, 3, and 4 in question 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're using the same number. So you're still using the 0.750 moles of propane. All right, now, are we okay with CO2 is carbon dioxide, H2O is water, and O2 is oxygen? So that means that C3H8 has to be propane from question 3. Are we okay with that? So what are we asked to find in number 4? Carbon dioxide. All right, so moles of C3H8 has to go on the bottom. Are we changing compounds? So we have to put moles on top. And I just said, what did question 4 ask us to find? Carbon dioxide. So we're going to put carbon dioxide on top. And so what coefficients are in front of CO2 and C3H8? C3H8 has a what? A 1. And carbon dioxide has a what? Has a who? Has a 3. So multiply by 3 and divide by 1. And that's how you get 2.25 moles.
Well, I thought you were just write however this thing.
Right.
So whenever it tells you to find the moles of a product, when it gives you a reaction, it doesn't matter.
Still draw the T-chart.
So you can find the moles of anything with just one thing on them.
Yep. Anybody else? Question? So we're okay with moles to moles. Okay. We're going to add in grams today.
Oh, I have a feeling this is hard.
It's not. It's the same skills you already have. You're adding on one more section to the chart. That's it. You're still keeping what we have. We're adding one more section.
And we have a test next week.
The only difference coming is like you put in one.
We're still putting in one for moles. Your moles that are not going to have ones are still going to be this section. Your mole ratio section.
I don't like the one that has like this block in it and has the equations in it. I don't have a picture. what the work day is our.
No.
All right, for those of you who like titles, your title is there. That's the second type of problem we're doing, mold to graham. Mold to graham.
I bought my own pens.
You mean you weren't using your own pens?
No.
Who were you using?
Jayla.
Oh, that was nice of Jayla to share.
No, now I have my own, so I can, yeah. What is it called?
Number 2 up there.
We're gonna have to give it.
Of course.
Just don't
Nothing
take
to do with veg.
half a page or a full page thing. We're gonna do like.
We're going to do probably 2, and then I'm going to let you try.
Why?
Because I tend to think you're right.
Yeah, we're not. Well, I need to.
I know I'm being deceived.
Coming tomorrow for my birthday. Friends, tomorrow.
Tomorrow I will not be here. I've been telling you all week what 2 days am I here.
So it's today.
Tuesday and
Because today
Wednesday.
was confident, just let's just switch it.
I'm here Tuesday and Wednesday. Today is Wednesday.
Oh my God. Jessup, don't get on you for pushing it back the other day.
Jessup, he's just.
My grade is lower and shorter than Jessup, so. And it don't even have a class today. I meant today. Tomorrow. Yes. So,
It's long.
maybe like,
Finally went to a beach and math.
That's good.
Dang.
really? This fall. I'm gonna be like running in here at 3:30 because I'll be at the doctor's. So like, don't leave without me doing my quizzes.
I just have to leave by 4:30. Yes. Do what? Can I zoom in?
What'd you say this title was?
You can move up.
It's kind of been here.
Yes, that's so much better.
Oh, that's too big.
Well, what'd you say title for?
The second one of the
I lost it.
It's one just kind of the same.
And I don't want to wear it.
Where? Mold to green.
When you,
Next. Why?
Why couldn't you just print paper?
This is very similar stuff.
Because I don't have an unlimited supply of paper.
Now we're wasting time on right questions.
Only because I had to wait on you to open your pens.
You're right.
Yes, ma'am. Do I have a what? Like a manila folder? I feel like Office Depot.
She working over.
You don't probably like do anything.
Oh, yeah. That was just, I don't know, it came in there all this stuff. See, that's why. Tell her I've been over there. Yeah. Oh, I mean, like, Like being on, like.
All right, we are ready? All right, so we want to write the equation. Oh no, dear Lord. It's not that much.
I'm on produce.
You're sure we're not coming then? No. Why'd you make it look? I didn't know.
I know what she's right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, so what is formed in this equation?
Photosynthesis is happening. Glucose.
Whoa, whoa.
Glucose.
Slow down.
What did you say?
Okay, I was checking to make sure the pen wasn't wide.
Is it photosynthesis?
Who produced glucose?
Okay, so does everybody see where it says produce?
Yes.
All right. All right, so it produces glucose and oxygen. So C6, H12, O6, and oxygen have to be products. Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, what does it produce it from? CO2 and H2O. Are we good with that? Now, we need to balance it.
Add a 6 to H2O.
Add a 6 to H2O?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Add a 3 to this oxygen.
I agree.
Add a 3 to the last one. The last one. Yeah. No. Oh, it's no. I mean,
What, the carbon dioxide? I mean, carbon dioxide.
You said add a 3 to what?
oxygen. There's already 8.
There's 8 oxygens on the.
There's
Oh,
6
wait.
oxygens.
Yeah, it's already.
Oh, 12.
That's it. It's no, because.
CO2.
Okay, start.
Add a what to CO2?
Six.
Yay!
So then there won't be.
All right. See if you can follow my train of thought here. How many C's are here?
6.
How many C's?
6.
Okay. How many H's?
12.
How many H's?
12.
So all you're left are the O's, right?
Yeah.
All right. How many O's are here?
12.
6.
These 6 take care of those 6.
Yes.
Okay? How many O's are here? Get 12.
6.
Yay!
Okay?
Never mind. It's a 1.
All right.
Just walk, put the one, put the one.
Now, at this point, you're ready to draw your chart. But you're given data.
3 moles of water.
All right, 3 moles of water. Okay, so this is the one we'll write all the crap down below, the stuff that you're going to ask yourself in your head, because it's going to be a longer chart. All right, so what goes down at the bottom? Moles of H2O. All right, so in your head, you're going to ask yourself, are you changing compounds?
No.
All right.
Cutting through
There
and
we go,
I'll
right
get
there.
back. I'm sorry.
Huh?
I'm just cutting through and back. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I gotta make copies.
Honey, cut. This is Grand Central Station to get to the copier. You feel free to cut through anytime you want. It will not bother us at all.
Thank you.
All right. So, what are we finding?
Glucose.
We're finding the mass of glucose. So, do we need to change compounds?
No.
We're in what? Of water. We're in water, and we need to get to what? Do we have to change compounds? Yes. We have to change compounds to get to glucose. So the answer to this is yes.
I'm writing in green too.
Okay? That's fabulous. All right? So if the answer is yes, put moles on top. So we're putting moles up here. Now, if it's a mole ratio, change the compound. Notice I keep using the word if, because in the next problem we're going to do, the number 3 one we're going to learn about, if grams is on the bottom and moles is on top, if this is a gram mole, will that be a mole ratio? No. It has to be a what over a what to be a mole ratio? Mole over a mole. Okay? So if it's a mole ratio, change the compound. Is this a mole ratio? Yes. This is our mole ratio right here. Moles over moles. So we're going to go ahead and change it to what we need. What is it we need? Glucose. So we're going to change this to C6H12O6. This is what you did last night for homework. Okay? Now, is this what they asked me for in the question?
No.
So we're going to draw another section.
Why are you doing that in blue?
We'll come back and put the numbers in. All right, I can do it now. It's not an issue. All right. If it's a mole ratio, the numbers come from where? Numbers are coefficients. All right, so are these numbers going to be coefficients? Yes, because you said it was a mole ratio. So what number is in front of glucose? What number is in front of water? Now, because we've already done our mole ratio, we do not use that balanced equation again. We're done with it. Okay? Not anymore. What goes down here at the bottom? Moles of C6H12O6 goes at the bottom. Whatever's at the top always goes to the bottom. You never have to figure out what goes at the bottom. Whatever's on the top goes to the bottom. Now, again, are we changing compounds?
Yeah, because we're trying to find a mass now, right?
No. What are we doing?
The answer is no, because we already did it or have it. Okay? We already changed it. So what are we going to put on the top line? We'll put grams here. Now, is this a mole ratio? Okay? It's not a mole ratio. Do not change the compound. So, what compound is right there? Glucose. If I can't change the compound, what do I put right back on that top line? Glucose. So the only place that my compound can change from the top to the bottom is in a what? Where's the only place I can change this compound top and bottom? In the mole ratio. Okay, so those of you who are still writing, catch up, and then I want you to look at the chart. Where's the only place that I changed my compounds top and bottom? It doesn't even matter that it's the middle, because it's not always going to be the middle. I changed it where it says what to what? Moles to moles. Where it says moles to grams, What do you notice about the compounds? They're the same. This is the old conversion we've been doing for weeks. Okay? This is our 1 mole equals atomic mass in grams. Okay? That's what this conversion is. Whoops.
So, you just threw it.
Yes, I did.
A lot of work.
There we go. I put it back. What we are? No, we're not going to. All right. Now, so what number will always go in moles when we go moles to grams? 1. That's what we learned weeks ago. It's still 1 mole. Where do we get our gram number?
I knew it.
Is this going to be on the test?
It's gonna take
No, I'm going to leave all of these off the test. I'm only going to test you on old stuff.
That would be nice. This is gonna take a really long time. That's not real. We should only have an hour.
Hour and a half.
How much?
There's only 14 questions.
Oh, okay.
14.
All of them
Way
way
worse
worse to fail.
All
And she'll video on your work.
Oh, you started to give us.
Wait, what did you just do?
I extended the page.
Okay, lose the bass in your voice. We're not getting mad at each other when we have. Annabelle. I'm done.
Oh my gosh. All right, so there's 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens, 6 oxygens. The mass of carbon is 12. The mass of hydrogen is 1. Mass of oxygen is 16. I looked those up on the periodic table. 72, I think. 12. 96.
What is that?
180.
Wait, where?
Y'all are so smart.
No, you.
And we just solved the chart.
Yep. Now, when you punch that in, it will be 90. I need 3 significant digits for my answer. So I need, make it what, 90.0?
Yes.
Grams, C6, H12, O6. Now, if I flip it this way, it all fits on the screen.
That's a lot.
But I think it's just the writing.
Yeah.
It is. Like I said, we annotated this one with all that. This is what you got to ask in your head. We're not going to do this on every question. Okay? All that writing is internal conversation you're going to have. We're not going to write that every time. Now, let you put your phone up. Are all the problems we've learned to do with stoichiometry this one?
Britt, me.
I'm just saying, this one's my favorite time.
We haven't even done grams to grams.
Wait, we have to do 1 gram on there.
It's not hard.
It's not hard.
No, it might be easy.
All right, does everybody have what they want? Let's try another one. Here, I wrote this one. You don't even have to write the stuff above the equation. Just write the red and the question below. Particularly Annabelle.
What?
Just write this and this.
I bet you want to do something.
That way my slow writers go a little faster.
It's a ruler. It's a ruler.
I have
What is it?
a ruler. It folds up.
A ruler. It looks like paint. You know what I'm talking about?
Paint.
The paint house thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's dope. You need those and save a lot of space.
I like these type of colors.
See?
Pastels. Pastels.
Maybe you should go with the pastel.
Wait.
Maybe you should write the question down.
Sorry, I'm on magnet.
Right.
You learn to like adapt to her language.
What?
You don't speak normally.
I know.
Those are the my tires.
I am tired. It's like a whole new language. I know.
Yes, Annabelle. All right, have we got it? All right, so this type of equation is written for us, so we don't have to write the equation. Is it balanced?
No.
No. So what are we going to put in front of?
2 in front of MGO and then 2 in front of MGO.
Fabulous. All right, so what do we know?
2 moles of magnesium.
2.00 moles of Mg. All right, so again, we're not annotating this one because we already wrote it down. What do we ask ourselves in our head?
Are we changing?
So well, let me write this down first. So moles of magnesium goes to the bottom. All right, so are we changing compounds? Yes, what do they want us to find? Magnesium oxide. So if we're going to change compounds, what has to go on the top? We have to put moles on the top because we are changing compounds. All right, what compound are we going to? Magnesium oxide. So we're going to put MgO up here on the top. All right, is this our mole ratio?
Yes.
Yes. Since this is our mole ratio, what are we going to put up here beside the moles?
2. 2.
Okay, so they both have 2s?
Yeah.
Fabulous. All right, if we wanted moles, we'd stop. Okay, because eventually these problems are all going to be mixed together. And some of you are going to say, well, I don't know which one to do with which question. If they say find moles, we'd stop there. Did they ask us to find moles?
No.
They said mass. Mass is always grams. Okay? So draw another section. So whatever's on top has to go where?
On the bottom.
On the bottom. So that means moles of MgO goes down to the bottom. Do we need to change compounds?
No.
We already did it. So since we don't need to do it again, what goes on the top line? All right. Is this a mole ratio?
No.
So we can't change. What compound is this? MgO. So MgO goes right back up there on the top. So this is our old conversion. What goes beside moles?
1.
All right. We need the mass of this thing. MgO 24.3, 16. You get 40.3.
Right.
Yeah. Huh? I'm certified to teach math. I choose not to.
I don't blame.
I like that. I like that. I like
I burn things.
I don't think she brings things up.
Okay.
I'd rather talk about it.
Honestly, probably because I'm more if it happens, I would pick my cheese.
That's especially these are the airport for a year.
All right. So you get 80.6 grams.
Oh, wait, I think it's
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna nod our head yes. Oh, that's what's important.
You got it?
It's really not hard. You're just adding an extra step.
Exactly.
That's a lot.
You're the one complaining.
You got last night's homework?
Yeah.
Find the backside.
And we're doing back to
No.
That's where our practice is for this.
Aggravating.
Are you actually going to check this?
We're just going to do it now. We're going to do 1B, 2, and 3. Yep, 1B, 2, and 3. You, I need to take the rule.
No.
Then put it away. Do 1B, 2, and 3. We're not a problem, you could be that fascinated by our whole rule.
It was, I just saw it late and I was like, what happened?
And I had to like the thing. What does it feel like?
Can you watch? Yeah, you may, thank the best.
Wait. Oh.
All right, Annabelle, go sit down
$1
and give your assignment. I know it's been killing you that you're on the other side of the room and everybody over here is playing with the rules.
It was like No.
Anybody need my help?
Glad to come sit with you.
Okay, you did.
Sweetie, I'm blind.
Don't we have to know?
Yes, you might have to bow. Remember the question, the number for number one in the equation's up there above A. Well, you might have one that's already balanced.
This is my work desk.
Okay, I'm
Yes. So that equation.
Why didn't why are we just doing one beat like this?
Because A is just going to have to go moles to gram, or moles to moles, which we did yesterday. Yeah, you can.
I mean, that's what we're gonna have to do anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do it any way you want, okay? The way I do it, is I go this times this, and then I divide by that. I multiply all the way across the top. You can say this times this, divide by that, then times that if you prefer. But I stick across the top and divide by that. No.
Just finish number one.
So, and then we're gonna get sometimes we'll have
You do after.
then divide by this, divide by this. So multiply everything on the bottom, anything on the bottom, divide by everything on the bottom. We multiply on the bottom. Divide. You're welcome. Who else has a question?
Me.
Yes.
What do I do?
What do I do?
You have 0.2 moles. Are you changing compounds when they won't there? They want to know how many moles. So yes, you're changing compounds to hydrogen sulfide. So you're going to go to moles on top and go to hydrogen sulfide, which will be this one. And then you'll put in your, don't put that number there, you just have moles. And then because you have moles and moles, yes. Yes, that's why I said A was yesterday. That's why I didn't assign A. Maybe I should have assigned A.
No.
Maybe I should assign A. Y'all don't struggle with A. For those people who are doing A, A was yesterday. That's why I didn't assign A. Maybe I should have.
You do A while they do.
Exactly.
Yes, you do. That's why I didn't assign it. It's just like half of me.
All right, so now you're telling us to do it?
No, I'm not. But given the number of people who are struggling,
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna do
yeah. All right, who else had a hand up back here?
Me.
I know that. I thought I saw another one back here before I go to the front for you and Linda.
Is it 2, 4, 2, 4?
Raquel, I'm finna get the
No,
answer. I'm finna get the answer.
Too high. Oxygen is not 16.
Either way.
You think it was 34.
$1.
But the process, the way you drew the chart is
I'm
fine.
gonna get the answer.
I knew I saw a hand back there. I just said, is there any other hands back there?
Yeah, and I just did.
Your hand was not
I'm
up.
gonna get the answer.
What?
Yes, I'm pretty
You have sold a copper and chloride. Which one of those is copper and chloride? Right, the whole Or you change the compounds. to put multiple on top.
Actually, your brother.
What compound are you going
What should you
to?
get a chance?
I basically was.
I was talking to Sherilyn.
I will hold you up. That's the moment.
It's 32. I put a decimal after.
Your mom.
Did you get? Oh my God, I did one. You got one.
Come in.
4.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't read that.
That's all right. That's hydrogen's fast. You need to add it back
I need
Yes.
to go. You haven't balanced it yet?
This thing, this my phone, that's calculated.
Did you get 5.6? 5.6.
Okay. This is, you got it back.
The first one?
This is molten copper one chloride.
It's
This
2 times 1.
is molten copper one chloride. So you have this all back.
Where did you guys get that?
Did you use all of that?
This is molten copper chloride. And you got CuC how many grams of
And how do you balance it?
It's because that's what I meant. First we got something.
You just went.
Okay, I got 3.4.
Oh, you're cool.
I need help.
That could be great.
Oh,
You're great.
Hold up, I think I did it right.
Yes.
Okay.
How'd you do it?
No. Yes, but no. This is right.
Cool.
This, what is that?
Okay, okay, that's just me.
Yeah.
Stupid because I found like, okay.
I mean, that has a decimal there, right? Punch it in the calculator.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got
Sweet,
0.2
stupid.
Yeah.
So it'll be 39.
times 34.07.
Yeah, roughly, yeah. This is leaving.
Chris, you look like a
Well, how do you balance that?
Wow.
Three.
Then you don't have two CAs, that's one CA. That two doesn't go to CA. You got two H's,
It's already
two H's,
balanced.
that's four, put a two there.
Huh?
Give her that two on that CA.
Let's see.
Two O's, two O's. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Do we need two certificates?
Yeah.
All right, who else has questions? You're right there. Cody.
Yeah.
However, this is like. So that's based on this. So it's
You
1,
got
2,
four,
4.
you got 4, you got 2, 1, 1.
1, 2, 1.
1, 2, 1, 1, yes. Yes.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
For real.
Yes. And you got to add up this mass, put it right there, and then you got it. Okay? How about you? How we doing? Okay, that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not reduced. Now, you can multiply by one. Now you need to add this. Okay? So. You should do that.
See what I'm talking
You got it.
Oh, you said red. Are you trying to?
Ever.
Looks right.
Even
Who else has a question?
So,
Yes.
I think
Right,
this
this
is
weirdo.
1.2.
Very nice.
Hey. Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? Can't do that together.
Yeah.
Come here. Okay. Yes.
You know that this multiply. I don't know.
Because it started off with the zero. The zero also at the beginning. Remember who's just
Wait, so we just.
So it only has two sections. I had to look back and
Well, I was kind of confused with it. Yeah.
because we haven't had to use them in so long.
Multiply.
Number two?
Distribute.
I'm pretty sure round up.
I'm just gonna leave it like this, but yeah, no, you can round up.
I know what.
I'm saying, I don't know what it's.
What's the difference? 16?
No, like, let's take it.
That's what
You take it to work. Yeah.
You really have to use it.
No.
It's really easy. I think it's the right number.
He'll give you that.
It's like a whole package.
Okay.
And then when we try to split it up, we only have copy for
All right, well, that's the question. How many are still working?
On the last one.
On the last, all right.
Yeah, 87. Yeah, but I use the wrong numbers.
Not even question.
You don't want to spell.
Good.
What you say? I just tried to find something. I was pulling it and it fell in it. Oh my god, I really like. Did you get those? Am I gonna be good? How'd you do that? Yeah, she shot it.
Wait, you don't have
It actually might have. When you fall out of that chair. In the wheel. Did you just jump up today?
I looked at the first one, you hear twice.
I did like What do you have, math 3?
All of our see your work.
Oh, is there a fourth period? Yeah, sorry.
Today?
Yes, we get out of TMB. Boy, I'm not bending down to this stuff.
We're having a tornado.
Well, Sergeant Campus.
This is all like, wait, actually, I hope. I'm ready.
Oh my gosh, I used the worksheet that you also we worked well today. I'll see how much you guys get.
All right, let's look at some answers. Now, the answer. Now, the answers will vary depending on how you round your mass. Okay? Now, the only reason I'm calling these out is just because you may not have the exact same answer that I have. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean your answer is wrong. So, if I say the answer to 1B is 3.4 grams, all right, because you only want two significant digits, and you have 3.3, or you have 3.5, does that make your answer wrong? No. Okay? Number 2, I have 5.5. If you have 5.4 or 5.6, your answer is fine. I have 87.5 for the last one. All right? If you have something similar, that's fine. Okay? Now, if you have 83.2, we probably have an issue. Something is wrong in your answer. But if you're close with 86 or 87 or 88, it's a difference in the mass. Now, because we only have one mass in this question, they're going to be closer. As we get to the one that we'll learn tomorrow, they're going to vary even more. Okay? Now, don't make me work a question because you're off by 1 point. Yes, ma'am. 1B is 3.4. Okay? All right, let's learn the last new one we're going to do today, and then I'm going to, for homework or the end of class, I'm going to take yesterday's and today's, and we're going to mix those three, okay? Because we need to learn to mix them, okay? I'm not going to move on to the fourth type, but we are going to mix those three. What? Huh? S, Cecilia. All right. So, if you look at number 3 up here on the board, that's the title for the third type of question. Woo! All right. So, number 3 is the new type. So, we're going to start in grams. All right. The 2 types we've learned so far start in moles. But the last 2 types of problems are going to start in grams. Okay? We'll learn one today, and we'll learn the last new one tomorrow. Okay? Now, you don't need this part, the first step part. If you want to skip this, tomorrow's Thursday. All right? You don't need this part if you don't want it. You can skip that part.
I'm going to today's actually thing.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
What's that?
Oh, yeah, we're
supposed to give up something.
It's the beginning of Lent.
And you get like, yeah.
My dad showed
I
me
wonder
up to
if
and I said,
So just write it.
You just need the equation and the question under.
what'd you say the title was?
Number 3, grams to mole to mole.
Oh, yeah.
Good job.
Rosanna, did you write the question?
No, she didn't.
She's over there talking, Miss Wall. Get
Right. Write her up.
She's very good.
This was your RTP. Think about that.
Right. You be seeing that.
Rebecca, hush.
So do you know what you're going to be doing in the military yet?
Oh my God, it's only 11 o'clock. Oh,
Really?
I'm gonna die.
I love you, but
3:30 would be even better.
you're right.
Imagine having this hospital.
We would all be ready to.
Oh, you brought in that ammonia BS.
All right. So are we caught up?
No.
Jeez, people, it's one equation and it's not even but one word on the second line.
Okay.
All right. Now, sometimes this equation causes issues. So I want you to balance it before I do. Okay?
That's what I was.
This is one that a lot, not this particular one, but one that is similar that I took off -3 on a lot of people's test papers. So balance it.
Oh, what if I can't?
Give it a shot.
Well, you can.
Give it a
Try.
Oh, that's so true.
Pretty cool.
Oh, wait, I should put the number in.
Okay, I think. Yeah, I give up.
All of that's fine.
I did some try.
Yeah.
Already did.
Hey, what'd you get?
I did it. Oh, never mind, I
Good.
did it.
What's hard about it?
It shouldn't be hard, but one similar to this caused issues on the
I'm not.
test.
I know what it is, but I'm not writing it because I'm in pit.
No, I don't.
Oh, thanks.
Wait, hold on, give me a second.
Can I do it on the board?
I don't know.
Sure.
Let me do it. Do you want me to rewrite it? Or
Just put the coefficients up there and erase it. It's not like it's pen.
right?
I don't know. I didn't do it in my head.
I don't know.
wasn't done.
Just don't look.
Sweet, yeah, don't
Okay,
look.
I got that so far.
She's trying. She's working it up there.
No!
That's
Wait.
where I was stuck.
Oh,
If you can't-
two,
Not that hard.
two.
You know that she's
1, 2 O's. 2.
Put 6 on the next two.
And then
You have 5 O's on the right.
Try to make.
Where?
Start with the four.
Oh,
5, 4, 6.
I'm gonna figure this out. Let me do this.
4, 5.
And what should we start with, class?
H2O, put 6 on it. There you
Okay,
go.
now go ahead.
Yeah.
Yo, let her do it by herself.
Okay.
Go.
There you go.
They're getting me right.
How many A's do you have? Bless.
Yes.
Okay, you got it.
No.
How many O's do you have on those? Add your O's.
6 plus 4, 10.
All right. Questions.
Yeah, I was wrong.
This is why I told you to balance. Several people struggled with that one or something similar on the test. Wasn't identical to one on the test, but several people had issues. All right, so we have 824 grams of ammonia. All right, so we're going to annotate this one. All right, so what goes on the bottom?
Grams.
grams of ammonia. All right, so what do we ask ourselves?
Are you changing the compound?
All right, so R all right, so are we changing compounds? All right, so the answer is yes. What did that ask us for in the question? All right, we're changing to water, right? So if the answer is yes, we go to moles.
For annotating this one,
Yep.
that's a pretty green.
So we're putting moles on top.
Of
Okay. Moles on top. All right. And we're going to change the compound.
H2O.
So we're going to put H2O there.
So those two moles and change.
Now, y'all are going to be mad if you wrote ink. Tell me what's wrong with this.
Bro, why?
Tell me what's wrong with that.
Nothing.
Something wrong with it.
It's not a mole ratio.
There we go. Is a mole ratio.
Mole ratio. You're doing grams to moles.
Can't do it. It's not a mole ratio.
Why did you just write it? Now I gotta find some water.
Change compounds only if it's a mole ratio.
You just really made me upset.
So you just changed the making the
Okay? Is that a mole ratio?
It should be.
It's not. So I can't change there. So what am I going to put on top? NH3. Okay, so I guess I'm going to write here. If grams moles do not change compound. We'll be more explicit since that's clearly not getting it for some of us. All right, if grams moles do not change compound, does that make it a little more explicit?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not a mole ratio. All right, I'll even write that above. Not a mole ratio. Okay, so that's why we can't change the compound there. So, since that's not a mole ratio, how are we going to fill the numbers in that section?
We're not.
Yeah, we are.
It's solved.
How are we going to fill the numbers in that section? That's right. We're going to use the 1 mole equals the formula mass. That's how we're going to do that section. So we're going to come back and fill that in. Now, what does that mean happens over here? We put moles of what? NH3 on the bottom, so it'll cancel. So now, we're going to ask ourselves again what?
Are we changing?
Are we changing compound?
Yes.
That was funny when you said this is Grand Central Station.
It is.
I giggled.
All right, and you answered with yes. So what are we going to put on the top? You're going to put moles on the top.
Is this one even longer?
Nope. So if you answer yes, and we put moles there, now this is our mole ratio. So now we're going to change the compound. Okay?
When?
So what compound do we want to change it to? What they ask us for? H2O.
Dang it. I wrote NH3.
So now that we have the mole ratio, now you're going to use your coefficients. So what coefficient do we have in front of water if I cruise back here? Water has a 6. NH3 has a 4.
No one gets a
Would it
one.
be over?
All right, so now that we're here, all right, we use the 1 mole and the formula mass. So what do I put in front of moles? 1. And then NH3 is 17. N has how many?
She just knows. 1,
H has
3.
14 is nitrogen. Hydrogen is 1. So you get 14 and 3, which is 17.
Booyah.
Now, punch on the calculator and make sure you can get that.
I'm gonna do it.
It's
in my
what?
head.
I had 17.6.
I think it's 7.8.
Just kidding.
No, I've got the wrong question in my head. Guess what?
If we do
824 times 6 divide 17 divide 4. 72.7.
Whoa.
I might not do it.
I wish I was
Like, I didn't.
Yep, 72.7.
Okay.
Yeah,
We were like, just review everything, right?
yeah, before the final.
How long do we have for it?
Huh?
How many more days till our final? Because we have like 20 for AP.
You take AP exams long before we do the final.
So I would say like
We don't do the final until June.
so like 70 days. Because it's not. That's all. 20 is also counting like the days you're in that class because it's ADB day. So like 40, 30, about 70. No, quarter doesn't count down. But for input, probably like 22. Because lit is the second one, and we're last.
I have no idea how long we have. I know second semester is longer than first semester, so we're probably closer to a full 90 days this semester than last semester. So, and we're on day 30 or 31 right now. I have to go look. All right, question.
Only 8
Can we try another one without all the writing?
Yeah.
All right.
I have like 22 classes.
Oops, that's a new problem. I don't want that one.
Yeah.
Please tell me that's not it.
Yep, it is.
Y'all said-
You don't have to write the part about. You can start with.
Underline it. Underline what we have to write.
You can start with mercury too. You don't have to start with oxygen was discovered by Joseph Priestley. But you got to start with mercury 2 oxide.
Well, this class is very, very long today.
So what?
Why is this class so long today?
I'm sorry.
What time is it?
11:15.
You know, wait.
If you think this is bad, the first part of the next unit is interminable.
Huh? What?
It's really long.
What's next?
Even I dread teaching it.
What's the next?
So don't teach it.
What is it?
Right.
Might be on the exam, so I hate to skip it.
You know what?
What is it?
Let's take the risk.
It's the beginning of quantum theory, which is wave theory, which is just horrendous.
Did you know Maryland scored her highest on any exam on yours?
I had no idea.
Yeah, that was the highest she ever got. A 91. But we're opposite. Like literally. And
You
what
never
we
know.
and what we test high in, we're all like she tests always she never really tests good in science, so like that's her least favorite subject. But like she's good at math and I'm good at English. Surprisingly.
I don't know what Joey's highest test score was, but chemistry was one of her highest.
Whose?
My daughter's.
What's her name?
It's in the
Shelby.
blood.
No, I tutored her for the
I
exam.
mean, like, I tried going.
Yeah.
I think my highest. Is this what he comes to 94? Yes.
Yeah.
Mine was an 87 in biology.
She wouldn't have scored as high if I hadn't tutored her. She didn't know half the crap on the exam.
So is your daughter a junior?
Yes.
Who are her friends at West?
Megan Kukloski and Savannah Kirk.
I know them. Yeah.
Although she wants me to ask you how to pronounce your Instagram name.
It's Abafushus. I've had it since.
Abafushus.
Yeah.
She says it much fancier.
What'd she say?
Abafushe. Sounds better when she and Megan say it. Sounds more French.
Yeah. I just would like, I just make up random sounds, and I'd like said Bafushus one time instead of BS. Like it just came out. I don't know what happened. I just put my first initial in front of it in 5th grade, and I've never changed it because like when people see me in public, they say, "Oh, you're Bafushus. How do you say your Instagram name?" I'm like, how do you
say Abafushe?
Yeah.
It sounds better. It sounds more French. She's gonna be disappointed if I go home and tell her that.
Just analyzing
Joy.
All right. So how do we write this? What does it mean when I say mercury 2 oxide is formed from its constituent elements?
What's the constituent element?
That's what I'm asking you.
Is it like mercury and oxygen?
That's exactly what it means.
What is it?
Okay? So mercury is Hg, oxide. Mercury has a 2, oxygen has a 2, so we know they do what? They cancel out, so we don't need those. And then its constituent elements just means mercury and oxygen. Now, are either of them diatomic? Put a 2 on it. To balance it, we need 2s there and there. Now, what are we starting with in the question?
125 grams of oxygen.
All right, so 125 grams of oxygen. All right, and this one we're not going to write all the annotations down. We're just going to have the conversation out loud in our heads. So, what goes on the bottom?
Oxygen.
Grams of oxygen. Are we changing compounds? What do they ask us for? So, do we need to change compounds?
Yeah.
Yes. So, we have to go to moles. But, can we change it here?
No.
So, what are we going to put on the top?
O2.
We're going to put O2 there because we can't change it yet. All right. So, what goes on the bottom?
Moles.
Moles of
Oxygen.
moles of oxygen.
And then
All right.
moles.
What goes on the top now?
Moles of mercury.
Moles of whatever we want. So they wanted what? HGO. All right. Which one of these two is our mole ratio? The second one or the third one?
Third.
Okay. What goes in front of HGO?
2.
In front of oxygen? Fabulous. All right. What do we put in front of moles of oxygen?
1.
What is our mass of oxygen? Very nice. All right. Now, for anybody who wanted to put 6.
2.
That's right. This is why yesterday I kept telling you not to leave your subscripts off. Because if you just write O, it's very tempting to just write 16 there. But as long as you see it as O2, it's much easier to recognize that it has 2 times 16 to get your mass of 32. Okay? That's why I was insistent you write your subscripts. All right, so when we calculate that, that's the one I had in my head from last year that I can remember.
How in the world?
I don't know. Sometimes I just remember the most random things. That's one of them. All right, questions.
It's crazy that you have like such a distinct timeline. Like you because I was getting Katie to help me with chemistry and balancing and stuff, and like so she put out her old worksheets and there's the same dates on them. That's crazy. Or like one day off.
Mind blowing.
It was. But hers was March 1st, 2017.
All right, you need to be on the side that says mass mole. The side that says mass, we're saving for tomorrow. We're not going to do that until tomorrow, so don't lose this sheet.
What's this word again, Ms. Wall?
What? Stoichiometry. Stoichiometry. Annabelle, did I give you one?
No,
Yes, you did.
that's fine.
Oh, that's the old one. All right, we're going to do 1B, 2, and 3. Now, you have to write the equation in 3. Okay, so 1B, 2, and 3.
This for homework?
No, this is for now. I got a different sheet for homework.
You
I told you, number 3, we were doing what with yesterday's problems and today's problems. We're mixing them for homework. 3.
You used to score already.
Cecilia, you have used 1. You have 2 remaining.
How many have I used?
1.
Oh my gosh.
You can either use it or hold it. I don't care. Which one you want to go with?
Those 1B? You said.
No.
Which ones are we doing?
1B, 2, and 3.
Thank you. She would end up going, no, I'm gonna use it.
Oh, here.
They're coming for you.
Right.
Coming roundabout.
Hey,
Miss Walker, you're not lucky.
2.
Right. I ain't got time.
All right, what's the question?
That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for balancing, I need one.
I feel like I made it in chemistry for 3 hours. It's been like a 3-hour part.
No, I mean,
I'm just
well, when you look at this, I mean,
I thought she really asked me. Yeah, that's what
Oh my gosh.
We're done with 3 that's inside. I should think there's 2 of those. Next time it is. One of them. I mean, silver certificate.
You're silver
What are you going to plus the A's?
I got a little bit.
Good. Okay.
Oh my god.
What's wrong?
I can't balance it.
Okay. What's your parentheses right here?
On the HE 40.08.
It's just like it is over there.
And the second one.
Okay.
No, the first HE.
Aren't these already
The
done?
second compound.
You got 14.8 grams. So put 14.8 grams there. Only I told you to do B and you're doing
Why
A.
did you lose it?
You can do it. You're just going grams and moles. No question. You're just going from
Good.
grams of CAS, moles of CAS. That's all you know. Hold on.
Isn't this one already done?
You.
Silver.
That's right.
Yeah, that's not.
Yep.
That's the right.
What's that?
Yep.
You're really making us right like that.
1.01.
All right.
Ooh.
I will not do that.
All right.
We really-
I'm so glad I took that class last year.
Pulls water. Yes.
It's all mine.
All we did was the Morris College.
Yes.
I swear to God, I never-
Nitrate. Should be right. Yes. Looks good.
And I finished it with an A.
In A or B? In B, you're going grams to moles and then moles to moles. So you're going to put grams here and grams to moles and moles to moles.
I
said
B.
Yes,
Well,
You did?
Blackout.
Maybe because I'm so I just want to take this. And your thighs.
I had nice.
They were Michelin thighs.
Yes, they were. You don't
I do all the same way. I'm not big. That says
remember. I almost didn't.
Look cute.
You're right.
Yes, he was adorable.
I got that.
Okay.
So
Never.
Whatever. And she was bald. She was like,
You're finding silver nitrate. You're taking this, doing this chart, move it down here, and then go to silver nitrate. Yep.
You shouldn't.
Yes,
You don't need to.
Wait.
We'll find
4 times 2 is 8. Okay. 8. Well, we're over here working. Let's go.
You should also get yourself down leverage.
What, you did this side too?
Dude, we're on the side that says mass mole. Mass is tomorrow.
Oh,
That like 4 times.
I'm doing the wrong side.
Okay. Well, faces, still working on that side. No. Yes. Oh, that's fine. So this kind of number right here. Anytime you go mastergram, so when yes.
Okay.
Remember, every time you use coefficients, it's always in your mole ratio. So, you had 2 in front of CIS, so you have to put silver nitrate. Okay, so if you're using the reduced 2, you gotta use the reduced CIS number 2 to 1. To change that to 1. That's what I was
I only
asking.
said yes.
There you go. Who else has a question?
Is Flora CLO?
I can't find
So,
it.
CLO.
Yes, it is. With a -1 charge.
It's wild stuck.
You still look that way.
But
You're
2
cold.
in front of C286. Go from there.
Oh.
Are we?
That right now you're talking about
Yep.
what?
Nope, not in it. Good.
Got it? Sure? Okay, you got it?
Yeah, I have to make this one equation number 3.
Yes, sir. Now you want to make sure you're crazy. Yes, sure. I better not be suicidal tomorrow if I have a quiz.
We have a quiz tomorrow?
And if we have a quiz tomorrow, I'm thinking
Stop.
why not?
Did you get 2 fixes?
It can only be on this.
Silver one. Yeah.
All the 3 times we've learned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't add a 4th time we haven't done.
Like, just like make this one.
Since it's a mole ratio, we use
Okay, the only issue you have, see how you put a 2 right there? You can't use the coefficient there, you only use it here. That's gotta be 1.
72.59.
Oh, it is that quick. I added it. I think it's wrong stuff again.
I think CS is right.
Yep.
You look over our paper.
CAS right here, and you're trying to get
How are you gonna tell me whenever I was like, I was wrong side?
Chart,
this one is
nothing, I just don't know the answer. So, I mean, as long as you calculate it right, it should be fine. You don't know the answer right there.
Oh, yes, it's up there.
As far as I know, everything looks right.
Are they up there?
Yes.
But everything looks correct.
Oh, mine too.
Right?
I feel like it's smart for you to go to the same.
Is it C?
I don't know the answers. The charts are correct. So as long as you calculated it right, you should be right.
Lucky two.
Did you see how you wrote the test?
We're right, Hallie. Hallie, we're right.
Water. I'm not saying.
Wait,
Just pronounce that thing. No problem. I'm just telling you so you know.
That number you got 17.15.
That's not what we're doing right now, but I got all.
Well, I just, like, when I did
So when you do this here, okay, we've got right? Grams to moles. Not a ratio.
Yeah, I know, she's trippy.
Right? So, it's not a mole ratio, you guys
No, I was thinking.
Here's Kara, since you're done, can make stuff useful.
My answer was I've actually got something right.
All right. This one.
What?
I did something different, and I still got the same answer. I got the right answer. What the heck? Right here.
Oh, that's because I took the answer from A and put the answer in just a mole ratio.
Oh.
I shortcutted it.
All right. Okay, do that.
Probably calculator error.
Oh, what is this? Calm down.
Okay, doesn't matter. This one says 2.05 and mine's 1.16.
No,
I told everybody to.
doesn't.
I don't want this. Like, oh, I hate this. I swear.
All right, what's wrong?
Nothing.
What you got done?
Too slow.
Can I pack it up now?
Why?
Because you know I pack up like 1:30, 11:30.
Get us on. I did look up at 35. I was close.
Put a new band on.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, I usually rotate between this one.
Yeah, I know. I noticed the little things.
All of them for homework.